In this video, I'm going to tell you about the fire type and why it's not as bad as I expected in Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow. This will be an analysis on the fire type, its Pokemon, their stats, pros and cons, moves, and how they do in a typical playthrough. Since none of the fire type Pokemon are a trait evolution, we'll ignore the rules for now. So now that I explain what I'll cover, let's jump right into this analysis. Now there's one oversight I made when doing my Gen 1 type analysis about 2 months ago. I labeled fire type as rank F due to how most of the fire types had such middling special, and I also labeled poison type as rank E due to it having so many Pokemon with much higher special. Fire in Gen 1 wasn't such a bad type at all, it was just undercooked. All fire types could learn Fire Blast to bolster their low special to unforeseen heights, and some fire types could get decent to good coverage to help them greatly. However, pure poison types had no super powerful move to help strengthen their average attack power. The best poison move in Gen 1 was Sludge, and despite it having a 40% chance to poison the target, it was still very weak due to many foes resisting poison. So when redoing the type rankings a little, Fighting and Poison are definitely rank F, while Bug and Fire are now rank E. It's not good that I can't go back and edit that within the earlier video, but at least I'm making up for it for now. Now beginning the analysis proper, we have to cover the fire type once more. Like I said earlier, Fire started off as an undercooked type, being underwhelming in offense and defense. Fire was strong against grass, bug, and ice while not burning hot against rock, water, itself, and dragon. This type was designed to counter two of the best types in game, but due to how some fire types were made, it doesn't work as well as expected. Fire resisted grass, bug, and itself while getting put out by water, ground, and rock. While resisting grass might be good, the other resistances are laughable since you hardly get hit by bug or fire moves. But the weaknesses are horrible since water is common and one of the best offensive and defensive types in the game. Also, unlike future games, fire doesn't resist ice but takes neutral damage from it, which makes absolutely no sense. Starting the list of Pokemon, we have the very best fire type of Gen 1, Moltres. It's interesting to note that despite Moltres being the best fire type in Gen 1, it has a very limited moveset. Moltres has 90 HP, 100 attack, 90 defense, 125 special, and 90 speed. While those stats seem great, it only excels with same type moves. Moltres' good traits is that it has very good stats, has high special, has the strongest fire blast in game, makes great use of the agility and fire spin combo, but that's pretty much it. Moltres' bad traits are being weak to water and ice moves, having a shallow moveset, being a downgrade compared to the other legendary birds, and being unobtainable until the end of Victory Road. Regardless of those downsides, Moltres can still prove to be a remarkable flying type and capable of defeating many opponents within the league. However, you'd still be far better off using Zapdos or Dodrio since they can deal with the league's challenges better. Up next is the second best fire type in all of Gen 1, Charizard. Despite having the secondary type of flying, Charizard acts much more like a pure fire type and has a moveset fitting that much better. Charizard has 78 HP, 84 attack, 78 defense, 85 special, and 100 speed. While it seems like a weaker Moltres, it has its own upsides to help it stand out. Charizard's good traits are that it has a decent move pool, has access to Slash, has access to Dig and Earthquake for coverage, has Seismic Toss and Swords Dance for support, but once again, that's pretty much it. Charizard's bad traits are having the same weaknesses Moltres has, being the weakest of the three starters, unable to get Fly in red and blue versions, and being unable to boost Slash's damage with Swords Dance due to how critical hits work. Despite Charizard having far more upsides than Moltres, it's still quite inferior compared to it in terms of sheer power. Like I said in the Ideal Team videos, you should only use Charizard to counter the league if it's a favorite Pokemon of yours, mainly because it's far from perfect when facing many opponents in Kanto. Up next is the third best fire type in all of Gen 1, Ninetales. Despite having the second highest special of every type, Ninetales is somehow weaker than Charizard. Ninetales has 73 HP, 76 attack, 75 defense, 100 special, and 100 speed. Might sound great, but the attack is limited compared to even Charizard. Ninetales' good traits are that it has high speed and special, has the second strongest fire blast in game, has a 100% accurate confusion move, has access to dig for coverage, but yet again, that's pretty much it. Ninetales' bad traits are having middling defense, having a limited moveset, being a weaker version of Charizard, and being difficult to capture because it roars at you. Despite its bad traits, Ninetales can still be a powerful and helpful fire type. However, you should only use Ninetales in the league if you have extra Pokemon to support it. Otherwise, Ninetales will fall short and not be able to achieve much. As for the remaining fire types, they're interesting but not quite as good, so they don't need their separate analysis. Magmar has an interesting move pool, but falls short due to average stats. Sure, access to the coveted Psychic is nice, but it won't matter if Water, Rock, and Ground types can easily beat it. Rapidash has great attack and speed, but mediocre defenses. It has access to Stomp to flinch opponents, as well as agility and Fire Spin to pivot around strong opponents it can't normally beat. But those strategies will be hit or miss for Rapidash due to how inaccurate Fire Spin is. Arcanine has high attack and speed as well as great defenses. It also has Dig as coverage, but no access to Fire Spin to capitalize on its high speed. That by itself proves that high stats aren't everything on a Pokemon. Flareon has very high attack and special, but very low every other stat. While Flareon might have access to Fire Spin, it lacks agility to bolster its sluggish speed, making it rely on Body Slam paralysis or a teammate using Thunder Wave on foes to even try using Fire Spin in the first place. Next we make it to the Fire-type moves, and while there's very few of them, they're still decent to great regardless. Ember, Flamethrower, and Fire Punch are identical, but while Ember and Flamethrower are learned by most Fire types, Fire Punch is only learned by Hitmonchan and Magmar. Ember has 40 power, 100 accuracy, and 25 power points, also having a 10% chance to inflict a burn. Flamethrower is a much stronger duplicate of Ember, having 95 power, 100 accuracy, and 15 power points. Fire Punch being a slightly stronger duplicate of Ember, having 75 power, 100 accuracy, and 15 power points. Fire Spin is 15 power, 70 accuracy, and 15 power points. And while that sounds less than ideal due to accuracy, Fire Spin's effect stuns the foe for 2 to 5 turns, making it very worthwhile. Fire Blast is the best, strongest, and most widespread fire move, having 120 power, 85 accuracy, and 5 power points. Not only is Fire Blast super powerful, but it can hit very often too. Also, Fire Blast has a 30% chance to inflict a burn onto the opponent. Doesn't sound helpful, but if used against physically strong targets, it'll help a lot. Finally, we make it to how each fire type does in a typical playthrough, and it'll be surprising how well each one does against the main challenges. One immediate thing to point out is that each fire type won't have any real alternative way to counter Brock other than fire moves, or relying on an ally with different moves. Moltres will do best against Erica, Sabrina, Lorelai's Jinx, Bruno, Agatha, and Blue's Alakazam, Exeggutor, and Venusaur. Similar to what I mentioned in an earlier video, Charizard will do best against Lieutenant Surge with ground moves, Erica, Koga with ground moves, Sabrina's Venomoth, Blaine with ground moves, Giovanni's Poison types with ground moves, Lorelai's Jinx, Bruno, Agatha with ground moves, and Blue's Arcanine with ground moves, Exeggutor and Venusaur with fire moves. Ninetales would do best against Lieutenant Surge with Dig, Erica, Koga with Dig, Sabrina's Venomoth, Blaine with Dig, Giovanni's Poison types with Dig, Lorelai's Jinx, Agatha's Poison types with Dig but Golbat with other moves, and Blue's Arcanine with Dig, and Exeggutor and Venusaur with fire moves. Well, I didn't expect to add this one, but Magmar will do best against Erica, Koga with Psychic, Giovanni's Poison types with Psychic, Lorelai's Jinx, Bruno with Psychic, Agatha with Psychic, and Blue's Exeggutor and Venusaur. Arcanine, Rapidash, and Flareon won't get a separate analysis due to how similar they are to the other 4 fire types I mentioned earlier. But unlike the rest, Flareon isn't worthwhile for any typical playthrough due to it being slow and frail. In conclusion, the fire type was a bit lukewarm, but still burned hotter in Gen 1 than expected. Most fire types did decent to well in a normal playthrough of Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow, sometimes needing help from other teammates but still being good regardless. However, fire type gets to burn hotter moving into Gen 2, and I'll soon talk about what buffs the fire type as a whole gets. Hey look, that's all I got for now. If you enjoyed my analysis on the fire type in Gen 1, please give a like or comment telling me what you enjoyed the most about this video. Until next time, have a good day.